Hi, welcome back to my fourth DLC car video. Today we're going to build the Niobe for just under 1.9 million. Of course it's the i8, but I thought rather than building a standard BMW i8, why not build this? This is Manhart's version of the car. This is a rendering and there was certainly one at a motor show. Whether they ever made any real ones quite like this, I don't know, but I thought a Manhart one would be a little bit different to the sort of white with blue trim builds we see so often. So let's get going. So interesting to see the car has arch covers, but we don't need them for our build. We will do the armour. I'll leave the brakes a bit, save the money on those. Bumpers, front bumper. There's an awful lot of, they're splitters really, and some are silly and some are normal, but the real car and even the Manhart one doesn't have them, so stock. Now on the back, I can't imagine why this has been painted black. I think therefore just a primary bumper is going to be fine. As you move on down you just get different things that aren't on the real car. So primary bumper there. Engine always do. The engine of course on this car for real is just a small, it's a mini engine, a 1.5, and then it's boosted by the electric motors, and it has a battery for some electric only driving. It's a very fast car. So with the exhaust here it appears to be hidden. I think that's perfect. I haven't seen an exhaust on the real car. Grille. So the stock grille is like the two kidney grills but joined together. The orange, by the way, is the secondary as they deliver this car. Primary isn't going to work for our car. Then we've got carbon grated. I don't think any of these do any better than the stock grille for our build. Now for the hood is very good as stock, but on the Manhart rendering there's a sort of double outlet here, and if I go down to this intake cover one, I think this more closely represents it. I think there's actually 3 outlets there, but somehow that looks closer to me. And there's one here that says trim, which is in black. I'm going to build a black car. I assume it's linked to my black trim, but that's what I'm taking. For the lights, they look great, don't they? I don't see any point in going anywhere and spending money on those. We're not liverying this car, but I do tend to run through them on a DLC car, if only briefly, so you can see what is available. I don't know, none of those do anything for me at all. So mirrors, I want to be able to put the secondary colour on the top, and that works perfectly on secondary mirrors. For the plate, well, you know, it has some electric only range, so I'm going to put my buzzing plate on here, and yellow and black is going to suit the colours. The respray, you can see, is going to simply be a classic black. That's one thing that attracted me to this, is that the bulk of the builds on these cars are white and blue and combinations thereof, and I thought, oh, something a bit different would be nice, wouldn't it? And for the secondary, I'm going to go with a race yellow. Now this works really well. We've got the accents here, accents on the mirror, accents round our extended grills. We do also pick up some accents in here that I don't think exist for real, but there we are. That's the Manhart projected colour scheme coming on very nicely. Trim colour. Let's just do some testing and see if... okay, I don't know why they called it trim on the bonnet then. It's not trim colour. It's come as standard with graphite, and it's come as standard with the secondary stitching, and you know, I think that's fine. So I'm just going to leave that. For the roof, I want a stock roof, but I do need the aerial at the back, so we just select aerial on there. And for the skirts, as we start to go through, you see it's adding a skirt below this sort of cutout, and the real car doesn't have one. So despite the fact they're quite subtle, we're just going to stay stock. Spoiler, there's no spoiler on the real car, so I'm leaving it out here, but if you really want one for the driving dynamics, well, that's subtle. That lip spoiler there is very subtle. And the ducktail, because they've painted it primary, is potentially even more subtle. It even looks like it should be there, so I would do that if you actually want a spoiler on the car. Manhart really lowered the car So I'm going competition. I actually wish it would go, I don't know, half an inch lower still, but there we go. Transmission, I'll leave. I tend to only do transmission on and brakes on cars I'm going to race. The turbo, I think I'll just leave that for the moment. We'll just see how it goes. Wheels, lovely stock wheels. So if you're building a stock car, you are sorted for free. I think that's fantastic. However, we need something closer, and I think the closest, and they're not expensive either, are the GT Chrome. Here we get 6 double spokes on a bright sort of diamond turned wheel. And Chrome is close to that sort of diamond turned. Mustn't forget the bulletproof tyres. Now I could see basically no window tint at all on the renders, so I would think you should leave it, but you know, it doesn't look quite right to me, and I just think that that light smoke really sets it off, so I'm going to put that on as well. That completes the build of our Manhart version of the BMW i8, just a little bit different. Okay, before we wrap up, a quick first drive impression. I had to miss out a bit in town due to some unintended NPC interface issues. Anyway, the car's quick. Now bear in mind I don't have the turbo or the transmission on this, or even the brakes, so just with the engine stage 4 it really does go. You've got obviously an engine noise because the car is effectively a hybrid in all of its performance modes. Quite a subtle noise, but yes, it goes well. I really enjoy the cornering, but it's quite hard on the road, even in a game where you don't care, to take it to the maximum. And it's a really fun car in a sort of mid-engine way. It responds beautifully to being thrown into the corner with a lift. But I want to examine it more, so I've taken it on my little test track that I haven't used for a long time, at least in videos. And what I'm going to do, rather than show you that footage now, I'm going to take the other 4 cars from week 1 drop, and I'm going to take them all on the track, so we can have a bit of a comparison. So if you're basing it more on driving than looks, let's work out which one is the most fun. But I can say so far they're all very secure, very unaffected by bumps. We'll leave it at that. I think this is really good looking. Tell me down below, do you like this, or are you like, oh, I'd rather have seen it white with some blue bits or grey with some blue bits? Love to know what you think on that. If you liked it, give it a like. Of course, if you can sub, that would be really appreciated. But above all, thank you so much for watching. Oops.